What are some of the challenges your operators, your customers are facing in terms of getting broadband out further?
This is a touchy one. I'll probably get in trouble, but it's the FCC. I mean, every time we turn around, they got a new set of young lawyers coming in there, and they're saying we don't like the formula, and so they're off and running, and then they scare everybody half to death. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. 2012, we're going to do this massive change. It never happened. I mean, they just keep tweaking. But all of our clients who stopped and did nothing instead of follow their budgets and their plan are paying the penalty for that right now because, cost companies have this ride of revenue versus expenses. Well, if they stay steady with that, well, they did nothing. So guess what? Their cost settlements dropped, everything else, because they were scared by the FCC. And frankly, a lot of firms said, oh, don't do anything. Well, here we are again. If I have a frustration with Chairman Wheeler, it's like he's a one-man band. I mean, I do think of Reagan and Gorbachev, and I'm going to say, Chairman Wheeler, tear down these walls. You're making it so difficult. And, I listen to the NTCA broadcasts and all these others where they come back and talk about it, and they make a deal with his staff and say, we tweak this, tweak that. And what's he do? He comes back and says, I've got 3 votes. I have the gold, I make the rules. It's some of his favorite sayings. And I'm sitting there going, wait a minute, you work for me. You work for my clients. So does and what's wrong with the other commissioners that he can sit there and say in front of everybody and have it recorded that I got 3 votes, I'll do whatever I want. I mean, I'm disappointed in the other 2 FCC commissioners. If they don't have the guts to say, wait a minute, I got a say in this. It's not Chairman Wheeler's FCC. And that's frustrating me because my clients are paying the price. They're the ones that have to sit there and go, what's going to happen next? Because we don't know what's going on. And we're running study after study after study to the point where does it start and where does it stop? And again, I know that this is political office anymore. He's going somewhere else. The other commissioners are going somewhere else. That's a fact of life. But please, guys, come on. We deserve better than this. We're working hard. I mean, I feel sorry for all these managers, some of my clients that go out to Washington, sit down with them, explain how it works, offer to make compromises that are not always good for everybody, and even themselves, and then they come back into a meeting a week and a half later and you say, I'm not going to do that. Why not? Well, because, hey, I get the 3 votes. I mean, he's been saying that, and I'm sitting there going, that's the epitome of arrogance, first of all, and I have a problem with that. I mean, again, I like to think that the FCC, people all work for me, staff and all of that.
So, me being the American taxpayer, right?
Taxpayer, yeah, we're paying their deal, and yes, it's a subsidized system, but it's worked pretty good. Otherwise, being a farm boy, we wouldn't have had this service if in 1952 Sanborn Telephone Cooperative formed. All these farmers got together and businessmen got together and went and got an RUS loan based on rules at that time and the rules that happened, and they made it work. I mean, the system worked. It may not be perfect, but it worked. And to me, that's what the FCC should be working on more than, oh, I don't like the system, we're going to change it to something else. And it's tough. If you don't like it, tough. I'm sorry. It just doesn't work for me. And that's my rant for the day. I've been in this business a long time, and they every time they do something like this, I mean, I've been in 35 years, so I know that they make a decision, everybody panics, and everybody does all their stuff, and at the end of the day we go, oh, okay, well, here's how we figure out how to make it work. I mean, we're very adaptive. I mean, we're adapt or die. The rural client base is really amazing that way. They always seem to make it work. So I always tell my clients, okay, first of all, let's not panic. It's going to take time, although they panicked everybody earlier this last fall saying we're going to implement it and it's going to be effective immediately. Mm-hmm. There's always a transition period. But even the big boys balked at that, so at least he backed off of that for now. But, come on, everything is phased in. It has to be. It has to be. I mean, we're borrowing money. I mean, they scared RUS because they're saying, wait a minute.
Another federal agency.
Federal agency, but they even scared the federal agency because they're sitting there going looking at financials to do an RUS loan design and application, and they're going, wait a minute, we don't know that you'll be getting any of the payments that you say in your pro forma that you're going to get based on the, being a high-cost company and all of that. So we had to sit there and go back in Washington and say, now, come on now, remember now, pull the old guys out of the closet that are semi-retired, and this has happened before, and we'll get through it. But it is, that's a huge, huge issue if all of a sudden those funding mechanisms went away. So to say stuff like that is really panicking everybody all the time, and sometimes with reason. But at the end of the day, reasonable people come around. But I am frustrated with Chairman Wheeler. I just feel like you know, yeah, you do have the gold, and you are in a lot of power, but are you really a one-man show? I mean, come on, you know, tear down those walls.
Well, Dave, I guess we'll find out what walls are there in a few weeks
we'll
here.
See if he
right?
calls me tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thanks. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Ken. It's pretty.